Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today I'm proud to bring you the Diana Montfort Show with Diana Montfort. Greetings, Diana.
Well, hi there, Hercules. And I always have great guests, but I have a super special guest tonight.
Fantastic.
Um, yeah, my guest is the famous actress, Emmy-nominated actress, I might add, Ilene Kristen. You know her as playing Delia on Ryan's Hope, and Roxy on, I believe, was it One Life to Live or All My Children?
One Life to Live.
And she's added yet another bow to her, no, string to her bow. She's now a producer, and she has produced an amazing documentary.
Not to my bow. we'll see.
Well, yeah, but whatever. We're going to talk about her wonderful documentary, Heist, a documentary film. You have to type in the entire title because there are a lot of films named Heist.
You have to put in
what?
Heist, the documentary film in YouTube, and you'll get to it
Right.
very easily.
And I've seen it, and it's great, and everybody should watch it. It is about how Doge, the Elon Musk unofficial branch of the U.S. government, presumed to fire people who had been working in their jobs for years, sometimes decades, with no notice. Clear out your office. You have 15 minutes to leave the building. And we are going to discuss that in detail. And we will also, of course, discuss Ilene's brilliant acting career and her many contributions to the theater world. So hi there.
Hi there. Good to be here.
Great to have you. So tell us about Heist.
Well, I was sitting by the TV, wasn't liking very much of what I saw, and was kind of screaming at the TV one day, and my very dearest friend, Rebecca Camisa, who is a very well-known documentarian. She's been nominated for 2 Oscars for a film, Which Way Home, about migrant children coming over the Mexican borders into our country looking for their parents who are migrant workers. And she was nominated for that. And she was also nominated for a film called God is the Bigger Elvis, which was also on HBO, about Dolores Hart, who was a very well-known actress in Hollywood in her 20s and decided to join a monastery as a nun.
And she's still there, God love her, and she's like 86 now.
Oh, yes. Yes, she is. And she's not terribly well health-wise, but they're taking very good care of her. Well, she's not exactly at the monastery. I think she's at an assisted living place. But a wonderful woman, and it was a wonderful, really wonderful film. Anyway, Rebecca called me one day while I was screaming at the TV, and she said, "You want to go to Washington? We need to document what's going on there. People are being fired left and right, and we have to archive, at least if nothing else, we have to go and archive this so we have a record of this." Because she said, "I have a feeling this is not going to be very well covered news." So the next thing I know,
excuse me, the media's in the pocket of the corporations, including Elon Musk's mammoth tentacles of finance. So naturally enough, they're not going to cover it.
Well, and it was true, because when we got there were very few news crews. They were there for certain events, but we went there. We had no idea what the story really was going to be. But if in doubt, follow where the protests are. And we just got a cart. Rebecca ran camera. I ran sound. I've never done that before. We just were off on an adventure, and we just followed people who had signs, and we're going to, and we also found out through people in the know where the events might be, where the fired federal workforce would be. So that's
You're
what
very
we did.
brave, both of you. two women alone in that highly charged atmosphere with violence all over the place. That shows great courage.
It wasn't violent. It wasn't violent there, actually. It was rather oddly quiet, which is even scarier in a way. There were a lot of people out protesting, but as I said, the news crews were kind of absent to a large degree. And
but weren't there police there, the Gestapo of Trump?
There were police, but it was, first of all, most of the police are very much on the side of these protesters. You know, the memory of January 6th isn't that far away. And so we met some very nice people on the force, and but not heavily policed. I think there are a lot of undercover people there that make sure that everything is, you know, as safe as it can be.
You mean government undercover people or protesters
I
undercover?
couldn't tell you. Listen, in New York City, there are a lot of undercover people that are in the subway stations that we would never realize are working for just the regular police force. So I'm sure in Washington, there were, besides being uniformed police, there were undercover detectives just making sure that people are okay. There was no violence.
But
there
what
were no
people, the protesters or the cops? You know, I mean, you wonder. And since Washington, D.C. is a majority black city, and
Yes.
Trump is notorious for his racism, I mean, you know, one wonders if he didn't want to bash a few African-American heads.
Well, that did not happen when I was there, so I cannot even speak on that issue of what the idiot wants or needs in his life to make him feel like he's doing or not doing anything for this country. I cannot speak on that because that's not what I witnessed. I witnessed people rallying, supporting each other, these workers supporting each other, people who have worked in, let's say, I think one of the best examples of what went down, and it's the first in our film the first building that we went to was USAID. And that, you know, is responsible, well, they shuttered it, but it's responsible for giving people food, clothing, all sorts of aid when there are tsunamis or natural disasters or wars in certain country. USAID was the first on the ground to give aid to people. Now, when we went there, they were they were taking pieces of garbage bags and putting them over the seal, over the USAID seal. In other words, to say, this building doesn't exist anymore. You are not an agency anymore, which is...
And all the people who had worked there for years were just summarily fired, and that was that. Leave now. That was it, wasn't it?
Well, they were given certain setup times to come in and collect their stuff and to leave. And many of these people who could have had jobs in the private sector so believed in this agency in particular, but when it was shuttered, so I have this statistic here. What did shuttering USAID cost? 55 tons of food gone to waste, the gutting of critical assistance to over 100 countries, and 10,000 American jobs lost. Now,
Meanwhile, Trump is running around saying, oh, we've increased jobs, no end. Oh, aren't we great?
No.
There's such a disconnect between what Trump says and what actually takes place. It's mondo bizarro.
Well, he opens his mouth. He opens up. I want to say he opens its mouth, and it's lie. It's just a lie, or he doesn't know. He didn't know half of what these agencies do, nor did he care. Like, okay, the National Park Service. See, these are things that we don't think about, because they were run. Federal workers are humble people. They were not paid these exorbitant salaries that Doge was saying that these bloated money salaries that these workers were making. That's just bull. Anyway, a catastrophic blow to the National Park Service was that the administration, the cuts, mean closed campgrounds, reduced visitor center hours, fewer rangers and staff, hurting the ability to provide medical services and search and rescue, creating unsafe, less accessible parks. Now, what is that about? Why would you?
I don't know. I mean, why would he want, since all the Midwest people no doubt love to go to those national parks, he's basically hurting his own fan base.
Yeah. I mean, it really in the short run it's ridiculous, but in the long run it's even more ridiculous. I heard, can't really quote me on this, but there was a regular department for rabies headed by several people. It was an organization, and now I think there's one person behind the desk. So if rabies ever becomes a thing again, we have nobody really in control of that. And
Do you think this new virus that came from the cruise ship, they're gearing up for another shutdown the way they did during COVID, maybe to keep us from voting in November?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. Okay, so National Institute of Health. Doge proposed 40,000 cuts to the National Institutes of Health. So that equals annual economic losses of $2.45 billion for the economy of Texas, $2.12 billion for the economy of Pennsylvania, $851 million for the economy of Missouri. Life-saving research into rare diseases like cystic fibrosis is under attack, and the health of our nation is on the line. And this is for many diseases, autism also. I mean, it really makes no sense if you're in the government.
No, it doesn't.
Why would you
appointing crazy RFK Jr., Mr. Heroin addict with a worm in his brain, to be the head of the medical establishment is so strange, so awful, so weird, that you really wonder what's going on here.
You really do wonder what's going on. My friend worked under him for a while. Fortunately, she got kind of a transfer. But she said it's insane. It's really, with all the very well-trained, very capable people that are running agencies, and now they've got people running agencies who are not qualified at all. But this is the reason why this happened. In his first term, the orange one was hit up against people who were whistleblowers, basically, and would say, no, that is not legal, you can't do it. Like, he'd go to certain of these agencies and try to get favors out of them for things having to do basically with, I think, his friends. And they would go, no, that's not legal, it's not good, you can't do this. So he made sure, whatever he did in the 4 years that he wasn't president, I hate to say, there were a lot of meetings at Mar-a-Lago where they figured out that if and when they got back into power again, or when they got back into power, what was the first things they were going to do? And the first things they were going to do were they were going to fire people who would say no to them. It's pretty easy to understand if you they want people who say yes or who turn a blind eye. So
maybe that's why he appoints people who were on Fox News to head all these government agencies like Kash Patel and Hegseth. Hegseth apparently has a huge makeup room in his office or something like that. I mean, what? I mean, what?
So the criteria for getting hired is that you have no criteria for getting hired.
Just someone he likes on TV.
Talent.
Hey, he might hire you.
Job that you're
Maybe he likes you on TV.
What?
He might hire you. If he's a fan of Delia, he might hire you. You never know.
No, I don't think. It's funny. He saw me in a show that I did in 1984 that was called Mayor. And it was the musical version of Mayor Koch's book about New York City. And the wonderful thing about it was that Trump was played by a terrific actor named Ken Jennings that was about 5'2". And I seem to recall when Ken came out on stage as Donald Trump because I saw Trump in the audience, and I saw Leona Helmsley. I played Leona Helmsley.
I loved her. I really did. I know some people didn't, but I think, look, a woman in her time, being as successful as she was, as she pointed out, if I were a man, I would not be going to jail. I'd be winning a business award, I mean, I like her personality. I know she did horrible things, but I thought,
she was a trip. I spent opening night with her because she loved what I did. It was very funny what I was able to do with that character, and she actually recognized my father. She kind of came over to my father and she said, "I think I know you from the Lido Beach Club," which my father probably belonged to when he was in his 20s or whatever. And
she's a Brooklyn gal too, so there you go.
Yeah. And I think she knew my father. She said, "But I'm used to thinking of you in a bathing suit." And and
but
it was
you have to
great.
love that. If a man says that, everybody laughs. If a woman says that, people gasp. So that's one reason why I like her.
She was ballsy. I was a little concerned when I was told that I was going to be doing her, that because her ads were so ladylike. She kind of looked
from
her
guards
ads
the palace. Yes,
that maybe she wouldn't have any kind of accent that I could copy, but they gave me a tape of her on 60 Minutes, and I was really nervous before the tape came on because I thought, I've got to be able to imitate this woman, and I don't know if she'll have anything discernible about her that I can imitate. Well, the first thing on the tape, thank God, she's looking up at the ceiling at the Helmsley, and she goes, "Harry, what is that spot doing on the ceiling?"
You do that beautifully.
Oh, I went, oh, good. I can, I'm just a broad from Brooklyn myself, just another Jew from Brooklyn. And that's what she is. And I think she's from Brooklyn or from the Bronx or whatever.
Must be something in the water, because both you and she, in very different ways, are successful. So there you go.
Well, there's a lot of successful people from Brooklyn. Mae West.
Rita Hayworth.
Mary
Tyler Moore.
That's right. They did live in Brooklyn.
They were born there.
Yes.
Susan Hayward.
That's right, Susan Hayward. Definitely.
Clara Bow.
Wow, yeah. Well, it was a great place. I spent 13 years of my life there. And in looking back at it, it was a very nice childhood, and I lived in an area of Brooklyn that a lot of people who had come from Russia and from Germany, lived in. It was just a very interesting area. There were a lot of teachers there. There were a lot of doctors. There were a lot of people that worked themselves up from the Lower East Side and had moved to Brooklyn. And the trees were huge. They had these big, thick trees in my neighborhood. I lived in an apartment building, which I've gone to visit on several occasions. And most of the people who live there now are Haitian. There were Haitian people, Israeli people, Muslim people. It's so interesting.
Are you from Flatbush?
What? I'm from
Are you from Flatbush?
I certainly am.
I knew it. Good for you. When you said that it's full of Haitian people, I knew it. Good for you.
Yeah. We lived on East 17th Street between Newkirk and Ditmas Avenue. On Ditmas Avenue, the homes were really beautiful. A lot of them were built in the early 20s. And they were these big Victorian. Well, some of them were built in the late 1800s. But we lived in a nice little apartment, a nice little 2-bedroom apartment with a step-down living room. And my father had a beauty parlor on Flatbush.
Oh, you lucky thing! I would have loved that if my father had a beauty parlor. I would have loved it.
Oh, it was wonderful, actually. And his beauty parlor was named Beauty on a Budget.
I like that even more. Yeah, my kind of place.
And my father found this huge piece of driftwood on the beach. We had a little tiny house in not Rockaway, but across in Atlantic Beach. And my father had found this huge piece of driftwood, and he put it. There was like this shelf on the outside of his store above the sign Beauty on a Budget, and he put this piece of driftwood, so he would always tell his clients, well, it's the store with the driftwood on top of it. My father was very artistic, you know, and he had this little beauty parlor, and it was quite successful, and, you know, he was great. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. Although she did for several months, she worked for a very, very high fashion photographer. She did some styling for him, like he would need certain items and he would send my mother out to get a scarf, a certain kind of scarf, or if they needed a pink jade elephant for the photo or something, he'd send my mother out because my mother, she knew, she was very savvy with knowing where to shop and where to get stuff. So
let me ask you this. Now, everybody mentions your agelessness because you basically virtually look the same as you did in 1978. Did growing up with beauty culture make that happen? Did you learn early?
I did. I have to say, I did grow up in beauty culture, but I grew up with parents that each of them, until they died, were very savvy about how they looked. I never thought of them as elderly, you know, until my mother's very last. I never thought of my mother as elderly until the last weeks of her life, and even then I didn't really think of her as elderly. I just knew that she was dying of leukemia, and that, you know, but up until then, they were just very attractive people. They dressed beautifully. They were very young looking. And, you know, we were always into having facials. I believe that my parents, you know, I've never had a facelift, but both my parents had a facelift when they were like their 50s, both of them, because my father was in the beauty business and he had to look a certain way, and he felt young, so he wanted to look young. My mother, she not only had a facelift, my mother had, she had a laser peel.
Wow.
You know, and a very successful one, because my mother had sun damage. My mother had baked herself in the sun.
All our parents did that. Boy, yeah, I know.
I knew not to do that. Like you, Diana, you have skin like a baby. It doesn't look like...
Because when I was 23, My grandmother had skin cancer. She was 89. I took her to a dermatologist, and in passing, I said, "What can I do to prevent wrinkles?" It's like 1979. And he told me, "Well, stay out of the sun." I thought I hadn't heard him. It was a religion in those days, suntanning. So I said, "Excuse me, what?" He said, "Stay out of the sun." Well, I listened, and that's why I have okay skin now in my dotage. Now that I'm ancient, now that I'm a crone, I still have nice skin.
You know, crone is people think that crone is a bad word. If you look it up, crone is a wise woman.
Well, to a patriarchy, that is a bad word. So there you go.
I mean, crone does not mean...
I don't like wise women.
Crone does not mean old.
I know.
Yeah. But, so, you know, my parents were taking my sister and I for facials, you know, ever since we were very young. My father was always, you know, kind of styling my hair.
Didn't he let you, or actually bleach your hair platinum when you were like 14?
No, it wasn't exactly platinum. I was born with platinum hair, and my hair was platinum till I was about 13. And as soon as my hair started getting darker, my father could not deal with it at all. He said, no, we have to put streaks in it. So he would put, well, I guess it was like pale butter blonde. You know, he did that ever since I was 14. And he also cut my hair. You know, my father, up until I think 1965, the style was women used to get their hair teased. You know, women.
I remember, and boy, those styles, like those Saturday night styles with those upsweeps with the all elaborate curls. My mother used to get that
my
done.
Father would do those updos. My grandmother and my aunt would come in, and my father would tease their beautiful silver hair, and it would have a wave on one side and a curl on the other side and an uplift.
I really miss that kind of creative hairdressing, which is not done now. You know?
But you'd have to tease the crap out of your hair, you know. Okay, but what happened was, in 1965, Vidal Sassoon did his first major haircut that changed hairdressing forever.
Remember Peggy Moffitt?
Yes, it was the Peggy Moffitt cut. So it was bangs cut from the middle of the
I know what I do it myself on myself. Yeah, I know what it looks like.
So my father cut my hair like that. He must have taken my hair was very long, and he cut my hair in that cut, and he razor bladed the back of it, and the next thing I know, I had that Peggy Moffitt haircut, which
and you
was
were misgendered at one point because of it, weren't you?
What?
You were some guy said, "Excuse me, young man," or something like that, right?
Excuse me, little boy. Yes, I was called little boy because I didn't really wear makeup at that time, and I was flat as a board and everything, so I looked like a little boy with that haircut. I wasn't really sure, you know, my father should have done that on me because I got a job on the Bell Telephone Hour at 14. But the hairdo was cute, and nobody seemed to mind that, you know, I had a little boy.
Well, it was really high fashion then.
It was quite high
like
fashion.
Our generation doing away with the teased, sprayed once a week Saturday afternoon hair. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but, you know, it's very funny because I haven't had hair that short since then, and very rarely do I have short hair because, you know, it kind of traumatized me a little bit as a kid because I loved having hair. You know, I'm a Leo, so, you know, having a lion's mane, it sits rather comfortably on my psyche.
Well, and I noticed that no matter what the year is, like in the 70s, the 80s, you've never worn that over-the-top, too much makeup look that so many soap people wore. And that's very clever of you. That's one reason why you haven't changed, because you don't wear a lot of makeup now. And I've sat right next to you and looked right into your face. You wear subtle makeup, and it really suits you.
Thank you. Yeah. You know, I feel natural is kind of better. During the 60s, there was a certain style of makeup that I really kind of loved. It was pale lips, which we agree on those pale lips.
Yes, and the major eye makeup. Oh yeah.
We both like the same color, pale nude lipstick, and we, each of us has a collection of that. And when my dear mother passed away, because I used to say to my mom, every once in a while she'd wear a lipstick, and I go, Ma, that's too dark on you. It's too dark. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, my mother never gave up those 40s blue reds either. Even like in the late 60s when everyone else was wearing pale color, she was still wearing those big red lips.
Yeah, well, my mother never wore deep red, but sometimes she'd veer into some form of red. But when I told her, I said, when I gave her my lipsticks to try, and then when I'd come back to Florida, she'd have every pale lipstick, every great thing. So when she passed away, I took a lot of those lipsticks, and some of them had been discontinued. In fact, whenever there's a product at Sephora that I really love, I know that they're going to discontinue it sooner or later.
Me too. I buy 2 or 3. Me too. And I have more of those Ben Nye Nudie lipsticks. I buy 4 at a time in case they discontinue it. Yeah.
Oh, just in case, because you just assume, like I assume, because I love it, that everybody else does. But for whatever reason, they discontinued like a lot of things that I just love. So
in the 80s, I used to buy the lightest orange lipstick I could find, melt it in a soup ladle with concealer, Maybelline Cover Stick, and then pour it into a little pot and use it with a brush because I couldn't find the pale lipsticks I loved.
Isn't that that's pretty wild? That's pretty wild. There's I think it was Urban Decay had a lipstick that I loved. That the name of the color on the bottom was eradicated from having this lipstick for years, but they discontinued. Urban Decay discontinued a bunch of lipsticks that I liked. So it's.
I loved the nude shade from Smashbox, and they discontinued it. I was so upset.
Oh, no. Now, if you go on, believe it or not, they gouge you, but if you go on eBay, some of those discontinued things you can get, but some of them are old, so, there's nothing worse than the smell of old lipstick.
Oh, boy, I know. I had a bunch of MAC lipsticks, and they discontinued. You used to take the empty tubes, and for $6, they'd give you a free new one. They stopped doing that, so I literally had to throw away the old lipsticks,
Right. But for my skincare, I go to this wonderful Filipino woman. Her name is Mary Gonzalez, and she has a company called Mary Derm Care, DERMCARE. And she gives the most amazing, facials.
Where's she located?
Well, she just moved. So she moved, I believe, into the New Yorker hotel.
Oh, wow, that's great. Tesla lived there,
Who lives there?
Tesla lived there, the inventor.
Oh, really? The inventor
He lived and died there, yeah.
He never got real credit for, he was really screwed over, Tesla.
Well, that's this government, they didn't want people to know free energy was possible.
Well, also, Thomas Alva Edison kind of screwed with him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, sure.
Really a shame. But so Mary Derm Care just moved there, and I don't think she's got like a storefront or anything there. She has probably just a room that she rents there. But she does this amazing treatment. It's called Pixel 8. And it's an implement that has like little needles. And
micro, and that makes your collagen come to
exactly. Exactly. And she's excellent at that. I've had it done other places, but she's amazing. And She is a doctor of alternate medical treatments, using herbs. And I'm very proud of her because she's become a doctor of holistic medicine. So she has a practice in Princeton. If I was sick, she might be the first person I would turn to.
I think that's great because mainstream medicine is a racket. You know that.
I do know that. I have felt that ever since I've been very young. I have this wonderful doctor, Patricia Offgang, who's a doctor of, alternate therapies. And, I know, a lot of people are cured with cancer treatments and everything. Well, now they're using more immunotherapy, which is much kinder to the body.
The way I smoke cigarettes, that's what I'm counting on if I ever get lung cancer.
Well, you should just taper down at least.
I do. I've reduced my cigarette smoking a lot, and but it's not so easy. I've been smoking since I was 14, so whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. My father smoked when he was like 12, and he smoked for years, and then he had bypass surgery. His heart was in very good shape. Some of his valves were screwed up, and right before the surgery, the doctor said, Arthur, your heart is in great shape. You look 20 years younger than what you are. Could you just stop smoking? And my father never picked up a cigarette again. He was like 60-something years old, and
that's great.
He had smoked since he was, 12, and he just stopped. Cold turkey.
How old was he when he died?
Close to 90.
And that's after inhaling all those hairdressing chemicals all his life.
Oh, my God, yes. Oh, my God. Yeah, considering all that, he basically died of old age. His heart just kind of gave way on him. He really lived till he died, as my mother did, too. My mother played tennis till she was 90.
That's great.
And I got a phone call from like her good friend Allison called, and Allison said to me, I picked up the phone and she goes, Eileen, I'm at the tennis court. And I went, oh no, my mother fell on the tennis court. She goes, yeah. I go, this was the phone call that I was expecting. Not that your mother had a heart attack and died, but that your mother broke her hip from playing tennis. And that's what happened. And I went down there the next day. And my mother got through the surgery really beautifully. She couldn't play tennis again. And, she was not happy about that because my mother was a very good tennis player, very competitive.
I know a gal who's 2 months younger than I am. She's our age. She's already at it. She used to go to the gym every day because she was hot for a personal trainer. And she has had already, at this point in her life, let's say early geriatric, I don't know what you'd call it. Anyway, she's had a knee replacement and both hips replaced. This is what happens when you work out too much.
Well, my boyfriend just had, he had his 2 knees done. He was a cameraman before he became a director on One Life to Live and On Another World. He was a cameraman for ABC Sports, so he had to carry a camera around, so his neck is screwed up.
Yeah, and they were bigger then and heavier.
They were bigger, heavier, and
they wore them on their shoulder with a strap and stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you were doing handheld, he covered Monday Night Football for years. He also he was on the crew for the Olympics in Sarajevo.
Wow. And that was before Steadicam, so it was tough.
Yes. And also he had to lay cable up in the mountains. It was the Winter Olympics in Sarajevo, so he had to, with his crew guys, they had to, in the snow, they had to go lay cable up the mountainside. You know, he said there'd be these blinding snowstorms in Sarajevo. He didn't know if he would ever get back down to, the base camp, again. But from that, he has injury. He was a wrestler also. That's how he got through. He got through college on a football and wrestling scholarship. So he had a lot of injuries from that. And he just had his 2 knees done over the last 3 years, which that's an amazing surgery because it was so successful. I mean, you'd never know he had anything done. His legs were starting to buckle from his knees being so screwed up. And he's tall. He's at least 6'3", but he was like edging down to like 6 feet tall. He couldn't believe that that he had lost like 3 or 4 inches. But since he's had this surgery, he's back to almost his regular height. So he had that done, and he had carpal tunnel surgery just recently done on both hands.
Because and I think it's great that people today can do all that because that didn't exist years ago.
It didn't.
I knew a beautiful young makeup artist. You were talking about cystic fibrosis. She was born with it. She had a lung transplant, and when she hit 40, she said, I don't want any more lung transplants, and she died.
Yeah.
And now Trump has cut all that away. Thanks, Donald.
Yeah. Idiot.
Yeah. But no, okay, when you were on the soaps,
yes,
and your character Delia was like so popular and so many people identified with her, and I've always said if Marilyn Monroe and Machiavelli had a daughter, that would be Delia.
That's great. That's a great way to describe her.
Isn't it true? I mean, think about it. Yeah. So
that's a great way to describe her.
Do you still hear from the fans and all that?
Yeah. Just this past week, I went to a film festival at the old theater that used to be the theater that I did Grease in.
Wow! Wait! You originated the role of Patty Simcox in the original company of Grease. Yes. On Broadway.
Yes.
Yes.
But first, before we went to Broadway, we were at the Eden Theater, Eden, which had been an old Yiddish theater, and then it became the Eden Theater, and they did Old Calcutta there. That was where that opened.
Boy, remember how outrageous that was at the time?
After they left to go to Broadway, we came into that theater, and it was a beautiful old theater from the 1920s. So now there's a film theater there. It's the Angelica East, and I was there the other day, and it's a multiplex theater now. They've kept some of the old ceiling, and they've kept whatever they could keep of the old theater because it was a gorgeous theater. Mm-hmm. But I went to get some popcorn, and this gentleman behind the counter, he said, Delia, I love you, Delia. He said, what do you want? It's on me.
Oh, what a sweetheart.
Oh, I know. It was so great. And
you know how I'm telling you haven't changed? That proves it.
Well, this week, a lot of people stop me. It goes in waves. And sometimes when I'm it's so funny when I was in Washington, because there's a huge black population there, I kind of thought I'd be recognized a lot more because they were such huge fans of particularly Ryan's Hope. Right. And I wasn't, which is kind of strange to me. It goes in waves.
They might have been shy about approaching you,
They could be. And also because I haven't aged that much, they might be going like, I don't know.
Must be your daughter.
Her, yeah. Because this guy had said to me, he said, I would know you anywhere. You look the same. And I was
exactly.
like, well, Thanks to Mary Derm Care,
Well, when I saw you the first time crossing the street from a distance, I was shocked that I wasn't shocked. I expected you to look like those 70s rock musicians who wind up looking like insurance salesmen. And you look great. You look exactly the way you used to look.
Well, I take a lot of supplements. I think you have to internally take some things. I
agree. Oh, yeah.
Something called NAC, N-A-C with glycine, and it's a powder. And it's really good for you. I couldn't even tell you what it does. All I can tell you is it gives you a lot of energy. So I take NAC with glycine, and then I take NAD, N-A-D, which is basically they fall under the category of senolytic activators, which get rid of the zombie cells in your body.
And they're the ones that cause cancer, yeah.
That you don't need anymore, that are taking up space. So
your telomeres are long, and that's what's keeping you young.
Yeah, no, it's good that you know about that, So
Well, you did say I have skin like a baby. I know a few things, too, myself.
That's right. No, your skin is magnificent. Seriously.
Thank you.
It's poreless.
All I use is cheapo Albaline cold cream. That's it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But, I now take this other product. I take a lot of things, but she has a company, what's her name? Marissa Tomei.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Has a company called Terramar. Terramare. And which is, I guess it means land and sea. And I take a product called Morning Restore, which has the group of mushrooms like lion's mane, turkey tail, all those mushrooms that are so good for your immune system,
right.
And also probiotics that really also,
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's why all those Russians in Georgia
bacteria in the gut, which you
live
need.
forever. They eat yogurt all the time, yeah.
Yeah. And so I take that product of hers, and then I take this. I just started this Derma Renew, which is like to give your skin that extra glow. I also do. What's the company? Beverly Hills Doctor. He's got this Derma. I don't know. It's called DermaFit or whatever, and it's a product you take internally, and it has things in it that keep your skin, very resilient. Because the way herbs are in nature, they fight off bugs, bad weather, animals, and there are
Before
certain
Big
herbs
Pharma, that was all there was.
strong that nobody eats them, nobody bothers them, and so whatever the characteristics that they have in the ground, when you eat those kind of herbs that are so strong, that's it makes you strong. And
yeah, absolutely. So, but you really are an amazing case. I mean, look at the guy at the movie theater. Like, he knew you right away. I mean, and I knew you right away. You really, and your hair is still thick and glorious. I mean, this is great. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
Thank you. I take a lot of, collagen supplements, and the only area that for some reason I still, for several years I was doing a play and I got gel extension nails. So I got so addicted to getting these gels all the time that I did it for 2 years. So then I finally decided I would remove them. And it's been really hard getting my nails to grow back. They're getting better. I wish my nails on my hands grew as fast as my toenails grow.
Tell me about it, yeah. And I still wear pantyhose. So if your toenails are too long, zip goes the pantyhose.
Oh, yeah, forget it. Oh, yeah, forget it. I'm going to this wedding, and of course I've got the Emmys. The Emmys are May 28th, and they're going to be held, they're the documentary Emmys, and we were fortunate enough to be nominated for an Emmy, which we're so proud of. and it's going to be held at Lincoln Center Jazz, which is in the Time Warner building, and it's a beautiful.
I interviewed the woman who founded Jazz at Lincoln Center. She's great.
And who is that?
I forget her name now. It was years ago, but she was a great interview, you know. And she also does Youth Behind Bars, where she goes with her friends and teaches young incarcerated people to play instruments.
Oh, that's great. Oh, the other day I went to the Bronx and I read to it was Bronx Week or Bronx Month actually, and I'm on the board of directors of it's called the Storyland Book Lounge, where kids are inspired to read books. Authors come in and these kids walk out with a book, which is great.
That's great. That's great.
It's fantastic.
They can't afford it, you know.
Organization. It's fantastic. And then, so I volunteered the other day. They had Bronx. I forgot what they called the day, but anyway, I had to read. Everybody in the Bronx read this particular book to students called Luna Loves the Bronx, and it was written by a woman, Kayla Arthur, who is from the Bronx, and it was a book about all the things that Bronx offers, the botanical
My
garden.
boyfriend of 27 years, who sadly is dead now, was born and raised in the Bronx. Love the Bronx, yeah.
Oh, there's some wonderful things in the Bronx, but they have the highest illiteracy rate in the city, and we're trying to change
Well,
that.
yes, but that's because they're people of color. My boyfriend was white and Jewish, so, he learned,
Yes. Well, we're going to try to change things in the Bronx, and they have a wonderful, the Bronx president is a woman named Vanessa.
Oh, she's great. Vanessa something or other. She's fabulous.
She's a force of nature.
Yeah.
I don't know her
Absolutely.
personally, but I hope to meet her soon. And Richie Torres is I think he's in Congress. He's from there, and he's a gay gentleman, and they've got some.
We know in the LGBT community, he's our champion, and we love him. And and he's great, and he's a man of color in addition. So
yes, he is.
He's a Bronx person through and through.
Have you ever met him? Have you met him?
Probably.
Yeah.
But I meet a lot of political people, so I forget. You meet a lot of them.
I would really like to meet him because I think
I'll see if I can arrange it. He'd love to meet you, I'm sure. Are you kidding?
Yes, I would really love to meet him. Anyway, at the back of this book, they have all the different areas of the Bronx delineated, and it was just a great trip. So I went and I read to 4- and 5-year-olds.
That's great. That's nice. Good karma.
It was really wonderful, and I left so early. I left my house at like 7:45. I didn't have to be there till 9:30, but because I don't know the Bronx well at all, and I don't, and I took the train up there, and I didn't know how far into the Bronx I was going. I knew I was going to 181st Street, and then I'd have to get on a bus, but the bus was only 2 stops. And it was I was up there so fast that I was there very, very early. So I ended up reading for 2 classes instead of just 1. And the kids were so attentive. It was a wonderful.
Just the fact that a lovely white lady is paying attention means a lot to them,
Well, yes. I ran an arts program for basically all Black and Hispanic kids through the Children's Aid Society from 1987 until probably 1990.
Wow, well, you were busy doing the soap. Wow.
Busy doing the last 4 years of Ryan's Hope. But I would go to the Prince George, which was a homeless shelter.
Honey, excuse me, we're almost out of time, I know. Oh.
Well, I just want the viewers out there to know that we're up for an Emmy for Heist, and you can find Heist on YouTube. Heist, the documentary film, and share it with your friends and loved ones.
How can they access it?
That's what you just go on YouTube, and you just go.
That's how I saw it. Yeah.
Heist, the documentary film. It will come right up.
And it is great, and it will make you angry, but it will also make you hopeful because the people involved are hopeful.
And I just have to add this one thing. If you go to our website, which is Heist the documentary film, you just go online. We have solutions, things that you can do. You call your Congress people. There are things that people can do if they want to take action. You go to Heist the documentary film website. It'll come right up also.
I can't recommend it enough. I saw it. I loved it. And, on the upside, even the MAGA folk hate Trump now because their gas prices are up, their food prices are up, they lose their farms. So even his fan base is depleting as we speak.
Right. Well, not enough, but
yeah.
but hopefully moving in that direction. And, we just have to make people aware of what's really going on. That's why I think, Heist really shines a light on that. And, a lot of people watch and they go, I didn't know this.
I didn't know that stuff. And I'm in politics. I had no clue. None.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I had no clue. I was shocked.
Yep. So anyway, but if people go to Heist the documentary film, there's a website. It tells all about us, the people who did it. Talks about Rebecca and the outreach that you can do to try to change things.
Yeah, and we we have to defend democracy as best we can because it's evaporating.
We have to vote 10 million people.
Yeah, if he lets us, and if he respects the results of the vote. Well,
hopefully by then, you know what? Things have happened over these last couple of years that are just shocking to me.
I never thought we'd live in a police state like this. This is crazy. This is Nazi Germany. This is crazy. You should see what he's doing to trans people. It's really awful.
We have to vote. We have to vote. People go, I don't want, I'm not going. I'm not voting. I don't know who to vote for. Well, figure it out. Do your homework.
Yeah, we'd better, because otherwise we won't be. Well, he said himself, why have another election? No, Donald, it doesn't work that way,
I know. It's just
anyway,
really
I strongly recommend that everyone see Heist. You can get it on YouTube. Heist, the documentary film. You have to type it all in. Otherwise, all these narrative films called Heist come up.
There's all these things about Irish bandits, robbing an Irish bank.
There you go. It's something we're all so desperately concerned with.
Not the film you're looking for,
Anyway, my guest has been the brilliant actress and producer, Ms. Ilene Kristen, Emmy-nominated actress. She's all over the place, not only as a producer, she also does cabaret. She does all sorts of things. She reads to kids. That's great. In the inner city. God bless her. That's a good thing. She does a lot of stuff. She looks great. Same as you've always seen her. A real knockout and a good person. So you really should see Krista.
You're a knockout yourself.
Oh, thanks. Anyway.
In the world.
So do you. So
Thank
good.
You.
So I think, Hercules, are we out of time?
Yes, you're out of time. Thank you for a great show, both of you. And it should be up sometime by midnight tonight.
Sounds great. Now, to see it, all you have to do is go to, by the way, before we sign off, Ilene and our buddy, Nelson Aspen, are going to be on my television show, 10 p.m. Thursday nights on May 21st and May 28th. They'll be talking about what they're up to right now. They're doing a play reading, and it's great.
Yes.
And you should see them because they're fascinating, and you really should see them. 10 p.m. Thursday nights, Manhattan Neighborhood Network, May 21st, May 28th. You can see them and hear all the fascinating stuff they have to say. Anyway, I'm Diana Montford. My guest has been the great actress and producer and all-around Renaissance person, Ilene Kristen. Love you a lot. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.